Boris Johnson won 211 votes of support, and then, as we've discussed, 148 people voted against him. If you look at the bus stop in Parliament Square, there are two buses that run. Isn't that amazing? You've seen that? 148211. That was the result right there. Ian, what about that?
What about it?
Well, isn't it amazing?
No.
Nadia, you're amazed.
I'm a bit amazed.
Yeah, OK,
yeah,
fine.
That's quite good.
But we started thinking about buses in politics, right? The classic, of course, you think bus politics, the first one you think of is this, which of course Boris Johnson rode around in, which is the EU, we spend £350 million a week and we should take the money back and give it to the NHS, which has been widely decried since that bus was probably redecorated somewhere. Boris Johnson was on it. But also he had a bit of a history with buses himself, because he was on it doing an interview, which is sort of quick questions about your life with Talk Radio, and there was this exchange.
I have a thing where I make models of... when I was in London, well, Mayor of London, we build a beautiful... I make buses.
You make models of buses?
I make models of buses.
So they're going to be in Downing Street?
So what I do... No, what I don't make models of buses, but what I make is... I get old, I don't know, wooden crates.
Yeah.
Right? And then I paint them. And they have two suppose it's a box that's been used to contain two wine bottles, right?
Right.
And it will have a dividing thing.
Yeah.
And I turn it into a bus, and I put passengers. You really want to know this?
You're making buses. You're making cardboard buses. That's what you do to enjoy yourself.
I paint the passengers enjoying themselves.
Okay.
So, very interesting that, because it was supposed to be a quick fire thing. So it was like, I'll ask you a one-word question, you give me a one-word answer. That poor interviewer thinks, I'm losing this one. That's kind of famous, Storm, isn't it? I don't know what we make of that.
It's one of my favourite clips of Boris Johnson. And actually, speaking to Ian in the break, you seem to think that it's true.
This is what he looks like when he's telling the truth?
No,
it
is
like
true.
Complete rubbish.
He does do it.
He does do it.
Yeah. And the other interesting thing about that clip is the journalist now works for him in Downing Street, Ross Kempsell.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Because I suppose you don't necessarily know when you're sitting there, this is gold. This is the one that's going to be shared 2 million times. I make buses, and you think, what world is he in? I mean, you should be able to knock this guy out the park, and Labour's not doing it. Sorry, I went serious, didn't I? Why doesn't Keir Starmer do that? I make buses. Would Keir Starmer...
Do you think that would win us the election?
I
think we need to go more big vision, and maybe buses as part of a Green New Deal, proper public transport.
What's your bus thought on politics? Where do buses come into politics for you?
Bus thought, in Nottingham, we massively take our buses for granted. I didn't realise how bad the buses are everywhere else until I left Nottingham, because, we've got a publicly owned bus service. In fact, they come so frequently past my house that it's almost irritating.
Yeah.
But with Boris Johnson and buses, I mean, he's had quite the time of it, hasn't he? We saw this poor old lady, Elsie, who had to ride around on a bus all day just to keep warm because she couldn't afford to heat her home. And then Boris Johnson, rather than seeing that for the tragedy that it was and the reflection of this government's policy that it was, said, oh, yeah, that's because we've got such great bus services.
Tribute to the bus. Yeah,
that was because of the pass that I introduced, which he didn't introduce.
Was that in the House of Commons? Was that in an interview? I remember that being a bit of a misstep by him, yeah.
He is obsessed by red buses, though. I interviewed him once and was asking him about... Do you remember that row he had with Carrie, and it was all on the neighbours recorded?
In the flat.
Oh, yeah.
And I was asking him about that in the hustings in 2019. And he ended up talking about red buses, and I thought that's quite a talent.
I I covered a famous by-election before you were born, Nadia, which was the Littleborough and Saddleworth by-election. You'll remember this year.
Richard...
Oh, who won it? It was a Lib Dem fell runner, wasn't it? Oh, no, sorry, it was Geoffrey Dickens who lost the seat, yeah. But anyway, so they had an open-top bus. They decided they were going to put everything into it, Labour, because Tony Blair was leader and he wasn't Prime Minister yet. They bring up an open-top bus and they put serious figures in the top of the bus, Mo Mowlam, John Prescott, Frank Dobson. And they send this thing roaring around the constituency. But the bus driver forgets that this thing has got serious low branches on these roads, and it was so. I was on the top deck. We were having to hit the deck. It was dangerous. Anyway,